Hi, and welcome to another edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com. Today we're joined by attorney Athena Roussos. She is representing George Petrousis, who is involved in an international child custody dispute involving his son Andoni being held in Greece with the child's mother. In a previous interview, we talked with George about his case, so you'll want to be sure to watch the site for links to that interview so you can watch and hear from him about the emotional and personal side of the case. But we'll be talking with Athena more about the legal issues involved. So Athena, I want to thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Now, first off, could you tell us the current state of this custody battle? Where are we right now?
Okay, well, it's a pretty long custody battle. It's been going on since the end of 2005. Where we are now is that the federal court in California has decided that Andoni, he is a habitual resident of the United States, not of Greece, and so he belongs here. But the judge allowed the mother to take him to Greece for a visit after he made this decision, and the mother has kept him there. She canceled her plane tickets coming back, and she has kept him there, and the Greek government seems to be protecting her. Where we are now is we've been trying to talk with the State Department, the United States Attorney's Office, the local district attorney in Santa Cruz, California, and we're really at a loss of what to do. We do have an outstanding warrant for the mother's arrest,
Right.
But it does not appear that we'll be able to extradite her here.
Now, could you explain the Hague Convention treaty and why, even though Greece is a signatory to it along with the United States, why can't that be enforced to bring the child back to what has been ruled as his habitual home in California?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I think Greece is a signatory to the Hague Convention. The Hague Convention is the treaty that covers these kinds of disputes, and the idea behind it is determining which jurisdiction should be the country that can decide who gets custody. So it's not to decide custody, but just which country gets to make that decision. And the reason that we aren't able to, really enforce that treaty is because it's really up to each country to enforce it itself. We cannot force Greece, to do anything with regard to the treaty. We don't have power over Greece,
Yeah.
and so we just cannot force them to do it. They have to, they have to do it themselves. And the only thing that we can really do is our State Department puts out a list every year of countries that are not in compliance with the Hague Convention. I have asked them to put Greece back on the list because of their refusal to comply in this case, and that's really like our only power here. But we can't force Greece to do anything specifically.
And why have some political agencies or government offices declined to become involved in this case?
Well, there's two different types of involvement. Okay, so first is the State Department. The State Department deals diplomatically with other countries, and so they have been in contact with Greek officials about this case, is my understanding. And so they have been trying to get involved, but there is very little that they can do from what I understand, or at least that's what they're telling me. As far as the other side of it is the criminal side of it. And we have asked, we were hoping that the federal, that the U.S. Attorney's Office, that the FBI would get involved, maybe the U.S. Marshals. We do have an order from a federal judge in this case ordering the child back to the United States. He has held the mother in contempt, and we were hoping he would issue a warrant for her arrest, a federal warrant, but he has not done that. And the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office, they have simply declined to get involved. I can't tell you what their reasons for it is because I don't know. I have not been able to speak with them personally. So I'm getting all of this information secondhand. The one organization that has been very helpful is the local district attorney in Santa Cruz, and they have issued a warrant for her arrest. They've done it under California law, and so there is a warrant for her arrest, but it's basically a warrant under California state law. So
Yeah.
I think it has a little bit less effect than, say, a federal agency getting involved.
So I want to know, why would the judge order that the child go over to Greece for 6 weeks, even though he knows it's a very contentious international custody battle, and obviously the potential of the mother keeping the child there was always on the surface? Why would that decision be issued?
Well, that's, I'm a little bit at a loss for why it happened. I will tell you, there's a few reasons that I can think of. First, throughout the case, the judge had been allowing each parent to have 6 weeks with the child. Of course, the judge ordered George pay for all of the travel, which we felt was completely unfair.
Wow.
But he did that. He paid for it. And so they were going back and forth. So she did return the child a number of times while the case was pending. However, when he made the decision, she didn't have any reason to bring that child back. And so that last trip was after he made the decision that the child belongs here.
Yeah.
And I think, her attorneys, the problem is that he came out with the decision in April. It was something like a week or 2 weeks before the next visit was supposed to be in Greece. I immediately contacted the court. I asked him to vacate that order, and it was something that had to be done very, very quickly because she was supposed to have the child as of May 1st, I think it was. And, we had a couple of conference calls with the judge. I really think the judge was very rushed in his decision on this issue. And, it felt to me that just because she had some plane tickets, like he was just going to let this happen.
Right. Well, finally, you mentioned how you sort of predicted earlier there would be nothing you guys could do if the mother decided to keep the child in Greece, which she has done. So is that it? Are there any other options left out there?
Well, we are trying to think outside the box and consider any options that we have. George has been working with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have put posters up in Greece with the mother's photo and the child's photo. The mother is not too happy about that, from what I understand.
Sure.
We also have, there is a warrant for her arrest. Again, if she does travel here or if she travels to another country where we do have extradition agreements, it's possible that she could be extradited. We have asked that her warrant be entered into the Interpol system so that if she does travel, that her name would be flagged. We've also asked that the child be entered into that system too. And I'm not sure if that has happened or not. So, those are the kinds of things. But, otherwise, I don't really know. I think that there's very little that it seems. We've talked with the State Department. They said they're stumped over this case.
Yeah.
So there seems to be very little else that we can do. But, we do hope that by raising awareness about it, that will, bring some pressure about on the various government agencies.
It's just sort of up to Greece to cooperate at this point, right?
I think so. I think it's really up to Greece to cooperate, because if Greece decides that they are going to protect this woman, then it just seems very difficult. It's not like we can go in with the Marines or something and grab this child. It's just a very difficult situation.
Right. Well, it's a horrible situation, and I feel bad for George, and I hope that some happy conclusion does end up coming out of it, and hopefully Greece will cooperate, and hopefully he'll be reunited rightfully with his son.
And I just want to mention that Anthony is really a victim here. He is not getting meaningful communication with his father. He's becoming very severely alienated, from what I understand, and so it's really not just George who's the victim here, but it is the child and the mother. The fact that the mother has essentially taken the child out of away from his father I think is a terrible thing.
Yeah, that's true, and that's a great point. And I want to remind our viewers, if you would like to get involved or show support, you can go to the website bringandonihome.org, and you can sign a petition there and find other ways that you can potentially help get involved. Well, Athena, I want to thank you for taking time out to join me.
Thank you very much.
That'll do it for this edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com.